You're freaking me out now. I went stiff. What do you think I am? Please don't tell me I'm really a disguised demon. That set him chuckling. It's not funny. I've already had a rough day and I don't need any more shit tossed my direction. Relax. Alucard ruffled my hair. You're not a demon, far from it. He looked me in the eyes with an intrigued smile. My friend, I believe you may be a fallen angel. An angel? I cried, disbelieved, Alucard replied as a matter of fact. It all points to that conclusion. You awaken in a burning field, devoid of memory, with your back feeling aflame. You understand things that you otherwise wouldn't know, and you carry yourself like you are new to this world. The way you move, how you react to your surroundings, it's as if you're experiencing the world for the first time. Like you are getting used to this body you found yourself in. Me, a hapless young woman with no memory, an angel. I chuckled nervously. That's funny, you're funny. I've heard a lot of doozies in my short days, but that one takes the cake. I'm not being funny, Alucard growled low. And I know you're not either. I hear it in your pulse and your voice. This scares you. Well, of course it scares me, I snapped. I traveled for leagues, nearly getting killed by night creatures hoping to get answers at this castle, only find more questions. Now there's a high possibility that I'm not human. Oh, don't worry. You're human, Alucard reassured. At least you are now, though it might not have always been the case. You're not helping, vampire. Believe me, I am. I took you in and set you up with a warm bath instead of ripping your throat out, didn't I? He cocked a brow with a smirk. Listen, whatever happened has happened. Do not dwell on the past or what may be. Focus on the present. I'm focusing how much my foot hurts like a bitch. I rolled my shoulder muscles, my back even more so. Alucard's laugh startled me. He didn't seem the kind that laughed very often. I'll have that wrapped in a bandage, and there's ointment for your scars to ease the pain. Thanks. I steal it. Now, if only there was a remedy of getting my memory back. I heard a sharp blow to the head is a way of resurfacing lost memories. Alucard suggested humorously. I think. Try that and I'll whack you with a sharp blow to the head. I snarked back. I may not know how to wield a sword or knife, but I have a staff and I'm not afraid to use it. Alucard chuckled as if it had been the first time in years. I think I might like you. He gave me a long look before gently leading me to the infirmary where he would tend my wounds. I gazed in wide-eyed awe at the surrounding infirmary. Are you sure you don't do magic? Because this looks like a wizard's lair. How would you know what a wizard's lair looks like? Alucard murmured, searching the closest shelf for vials. I don't know. It just looks like a place a wizard would live. I was being honest. The infirmary looked like a place of magic and alchemy. 4 grand shelves lined each wall, organized with labeled vials. A large desk sat on the right side, lined with plants and notebooks. In the center of the room stood 2 rows of 12 beds, their linens gray with dust. How are you going to heal my foot? Are you going to use those potions? They're not potions, Alucard explained. They're salves. They are used to help heal injuries and prevent infection, but the one I'm looking for will soothe pain. He picked a vial with a white pasty substance in it. Here it is. I watched him open a drawer in the desk and take out a huge roll of bandages. He asked me to sit on a bed as he put my injured foot on a stool. I winced, but I didn't shy away knowing he was here to help me. It's swollen, Alucard observed. Wrapping it in a bandage will help it go down and allow you to walk better. Just hold still and don't move, okay? It's going to be tight, but I'll try not to hurt you. I flinched a little, but not from how firmly he was wrapping the bandage around my foot. Rather, it was from his touch. Whenever his fingers gently brushed against my skin, it sent a weird, warm feeling in my stomach. Here, this should suffice. Try standing up. I stood up. So much better. I wiggled my toes. I feel like I can stand on it a little more. That's the purpose, Alucard said. The bandage will help compress the swelling and allow you to walk easier. It'll have to be changed, of course, but I can easily do that. Make sure you do not put too much weight on your healing foot. Shift it to your other foot, or even better, your staff to keep it off. I nodded. Next, he slathered the white paste onto the scars. Unfortunately, I didn't sit as still for that. I tried, but having cold paste on an already sore injury wasn't easy. Yet I trusted Alucard, holding my staff with both hands on my lap, letting him do his work, while he covered the paste with bandages. I noticed he had his own scars on his arms. It looked like he was caught in a coil, wrapped around both arms as they vanished up his sleeves and reappeared coiling around his neck like a noose. Anger boiled within me. Who hurt you? You have scars too. That I do. That I do. I have many of them, he answered quietly, tracing the lines on his opposite arm. This was from 2 foolish visitors who betrayed my trust. He didn't say any more, and I didn't ask. I wanted to find whoever the bastards were and stab them through the throat. I will never betray your trust, I told him, determined. I swear on it. Alucard answered with a friendly pat on my head. Later on, he led me to my room, a small lavender guest room with warm furnishings and an even warmer bed with curtains. The full moon shone beautifully through the window. Wow, soft. I fluffed the pillows and bedsheets. Oh, I'm going to sleep so good tonight. I gave Alucard a meaningful look. Thank you. For everything. Alucard lowered his chin. Anything to help a lost stranger find her way. He told me the castle was mine to explore, but advised me not to wander around at night lest I should get lost. And I will be close should you need me, he said before closing the door. Even without the semi-ominous tone of a vampire keeping watch, I couldn't settle in. My sleep was troubled, not because I was uncomfortable. The room was very cozy, and physically it was the most comfortable place I slept in recent memory. It was hard sleeping alone in a new, unfamiliar place, without the warmth of the speakers huddled against me. Oh, how I missed Vivian, and the cold of the room didn't help either. I tossed and turned before I decided to soothe my nerves, whistling about raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, and things that certainly didn't go bump in the night in an ancient vampire castle. I nearly flipped out of bed, clutching my staff against my breast when the door creaked open. What exactly are you doing? Alucard's shadow loomed at the door, trying to soothe myself to sleep. I shyly admitted, by whistling to yourself. I think. I sat up against the back of the bed. Sorry, I didn't meant to disturb you. I'm not disturbed. Alucard's shadow moved until he was sitting on the bed, the mattress slightly dipping. From the moonlight, I could make out his large, imposing figure, his long, wavy hair trailing below his shoulder like a maiden's. I wasn't scared, but my body was on alert, being this close to the world's most dangerous predator. If your foot is hurting you, I can refit the bandage so it isn't too tight. The bandages are fine, thank you. My foot's sore, but that's not what's keeping me up. I sighed. It's gonna sound crazy, but I'm not used to sleeping alone. I've always had someone close by, like the speakers or the old farming couple, rest their souls. I think being alone in a huge place like this makes me feel vulnerable, that I have to stay awake or else I'll be killed. You are safe here, Alucard responded quietly. I assure you, but if you are uncomfortable, I can stay with you while you sleep. Would you like that? I nodded frantically. Do you mind? No, Alucard responded flatly. Just give me a few moments to set up a cot beside you. No need. I'd steal it. You can sleep with me. I heard Alucard sucked in air through his teeth. What? I asked. I asked. Safety in numbers. The speakers do it all the time. If night creatures crash through the window, you can sink your teeth into them, or I can bash them in the head. Alucard breathed a few moments. I suppose you are right. He settled awkwardly into the bed, curling up as far from me as possible, his back turned and his shadow looming over the moonlight like a mountain. Thank you. Alucard stirred, brushing his hand against my arm. I still woke periodically through the night, though mostly from cold this time around. I shivered, nearly waking up at one turn when I felt a heavier blanket cover me. I hope I'm not repeating the same mistake over again, the vampire's voice murmured in my dream. But I think I can trust you. I smiled in my sleep, feeling tucked into the blanket and a hand gently stroking my hair. Sleep well, little one. The morning sun shimmered through the canopy, gently kissing my warm lids. I stirred awake, stretching my limbs, feeling well rested for the first time in memory. Something heavy lay over my body, enshrouding me in a veil of warmth as I felt not even the slightest chill. I murmured to myself, bewildered, feeling wool beneath my fingers and embroidered gold against my wrists. It took a moment to recognize what I was looking at, but when I did it, left me stunned and uplifted from the further act of kindness. Alucard gave me an extra wool blanket for the night's cold, tucking me in before taking his silent leave. I pulled it closer to me, enclosing myself, practically sensing the good-hearted intention woven within in the fabric. I gingerly got out of bed, stepping first on my good foot before gently using my bandaged one. It slightly throbbed before I picked up my staff laying against the wall at my bedside. What's this? On the dresser lay fresh, clean clothes and a little parchment. I dressed into my new clothes, a light burgundy dress with sleeves, and opened up the parchment. It's a map. I observed, noticing the square with a bed scribbled in it and an arrow leading to the kitchen. Nice. He doesn't want me to get lost in a big place like this. Either that or he's making sure I don't wander off poking my nose into places I shouldn't. Can't forget my host is a vampire. I managed to find my way to the kitchen, following the map while walking with my staff. For such a huge castle, the kitchen was a small room. Maybe it was an add-on when Dracula took in his human wife. Can't imagine a creature living solely on blood would need a kitchen. Good morning. I cheerfully greeted Alucard, who was standing over a burning stove, tending a frying pan. Good morning, Alucard responded quietly. I assume you slept well. I did, I nodded. Better than I have in most nights. Thanks for the extra blanket. It was very cold last night. He didn't respond. And for the clothes and map. These really fit me well. I'm glad. My vampire host nodded. I wriggled my nose at the enticing smell sizzling in the frying pan. What's that? Our breakfast. He turned over the meat in the pan. I thought vampires didn't eat food. Full-blooded vampires can't. I am half vampire. I am able to digest human food. He turned off the stove and served our plates. My first breakfast in Castle Dracula was freshly baked bread with jam and delicious strips of meat he called bacon. I've never tasted anything so good in my life. I struggled to resist scarfing everything down like a starving dog, crunching into the bread in large chunks and chomping the amazing tasting bacon. Slow down there, Alucard warned. If you eat too fast, you will upset your stomach. Give yourself a few moments for your stomach to comprehend the intake of food before having another bite. He smirked. My, I really did take in a stray dog. Hey, try losing your memory of everything and then eating the first delicious thing in your life, I quipped, taking another strip of bacon. No! My God, this is the tastiest thing I've ever tasted. What kind of meat is this? Human flesh of a too curious trespasser. I spat and choked, pounding my chest. Relax, I only jest. Alucard chuckled. Bacon comes from pork, though in this case from a wild boar I hunted myself. Sure, mocked the Amnesiac. I smirked. I knew you were funny. I rubbed my belly when we were finished. That was good. I covered my mouth in a burp. I haven't felt full in days. Thank you so much. I feel so much better with actual food in my gut. I sniffed the boiling pot outside where more broth simmered beneath the cook fire. Can I have some more? Pleasure. I don't want you vomiting up the good breakfast I prepared. After I helped him clean up, we sat at the table discussing what I should do next. You're fortunate to arrive at this place. The castle has a wellspring of knowledge in its library, and there's the Belmont family hold next door, though it's old, moldy, and most of its knowledge is about slaying creatures of the night. I wouldn't recommend starting there unless you believe yourself to be a lost Belmont or a monster hunter. Yeah, I doubt it, I remarked. Huh! Do I look like a monster hunter to you? Me being an angel is more believable. Belmont. I heard that name before. Could it possibly be related? Nah, doubt it. Too big of a coincidence. Who knows what your hidden memory might hold, Alucard said. Boss! We'll start at the library and see what we may find. Perhaps a key to your memory is hidden between the pages of a lost tome. I hope not, I said, optimistic. That means we'll have to search hard for it. The greatest achievements in life are the ones you work hard for, Alucard commented. Oh, you're a philosopher and a comedian, I laughed. I really like you. I really like you. Say, you think we'll find knowledge about bacon in there? I almost fell on the hard ground seeing how immense the entire library was. It could have been a castle in itself. Massive vaulted halls with books lined all the way up to the ceiling, stained glass windows shimmering in brilliant light and spread across the vast rooms. Grand tables I imagined could be sat on by a court of kings. So huge, I gawked, staring wide-eyed at the seemingly endless rows of books. So many books. I wanted to read them all, to soak in all the knowledge of the thousands of pages. I was ready to just dive in. What? I cocked my brow at Alucard, who, watching me with laughing smile. Nothing. He quickly turned away, a tint of pink on his face. Somewhere in this library should be the key to your past. I hope so. I scratched my head, the immensity of the task dawning upon me. How am I going to find anything about my past among all these books? I don't even know where to start. Alucard placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We'll take it little by little, so... His voice was very calming, and we are in no rush. We've got all the time in the world. We sat on a couple of couches, the wide tables empty. It's not as an impossible task as you think. All we need is some help. A shadow loomed over us, and an eerie creature materialized before us. An ethereal, hooded being with black feathers and a protruding bird beak hovered close to me, staring at me with glowing yellow eyes as if expecting something. I jumped out of my seat and defensively seized my staff. The fuck is that? Do not fear. Alucard calmly reassured me. It is a bookkeeper, one of many. They tend to the library and will search out any books you ask for. Go on, ask it what you are looking for. I nervously looked at the macabre creature. I would like to find books about angels. It was the first thing that came to my head. The creature vanished into mist before reappearing with dozens of scrolls and old leather books laying orderly in on the table. Alucard sat at the table. Shall we begin? I took a seat next to him. Yes, challenge accepted. We spent what seemed like hours poring over the information on angels. There was tons of stuff. Mythology of angels, angelic hierarchy, prayers for certain guardian angels, offerings for angels, biblical scripts of angels appearing, and strangely enough, the entire divine comedy. Nothing rung a bell to me, not even the names of prominent celestial beings. Ugh, so much knowledge. I slumped my head on the table. Quite the tome of information, Alucard said, mildly intrigued. And nothing struck familiar to you? I gestured my face on the table. Does it look like it? Alucard chuckled. Cheer up. Do not give up hope. There are thousands of books in this library. Something among their pages might stir your memory. And what if it doesn't, and I'm just a blank slate without a name? I rose my head up. Then you will have been given an opportunity many wish for but few ever receive, Alucard said. A chance to start anew, free of the troubles of your past. Yeah, that does sound nice. I sighed, feeling a bit more optimistic. What a place to start a new slate, huh? In a magic castle guarded by a fearsome but friendly vampire. Fearsome but friendly? Alucard cocked his head with a smile. I've never been called that before. You believe me to be friendly? Well, yeah, I remarked. You took me in while I was wet, injured, and scared for my life. You gave me food, a warm bath, clothes that fit, and a roof under my head. If that's not friendly, I don't know what is. Then I must be losing my edge. Alucard neared me, grinning. I am a vampire. Not only that, I'm the son of Dracula. I should strike fear into your heart. You're not scary. I neared him, smirking. Not to me. Not anymore. You did scare me when we met last night prowling around in the shadows. There was a moment where I thought it was the end of the line for me, and my hard journey was for nothing. Now I see it. Just might be the beginning. Alucard gave a look of nervous excitement. Indeed it may. He was fighting with himself, digging his claws into the table. You are welcome to stay as long as you may like. I only ask for you to let me know if you wish to leave, and to stay away from the western wing of the castle. Why? I asked. Is there something dangerous or forbidden in there? No, Alucard said quietly. Rather, there are things there I wish to spare your innocent eyes from. If you're afraid of me losing my innocent view on the world, you're too late. I've seen a lot. I lowered my head. But I'll respect your wishes and avoid that part of the castle. Thank you, Alucard responded softly, curling his fingers. Against my instincts, I trust you. I took his hand, undaunted by his claw-like nails that shrunk from my touch. I promise I will never break your trust, and I'll never betray you. I swear it on my life. Vampires are supposed to feel cold, but his hand felt warm in mine as he held it tenderly. Alucard? I turned my face away, struggling from my thoughts, and the strange stirring in my chest. If I ever recover my memory and it turns out the person I was wasn't very nice, will you still accept me? Will you like me for who I am now and not who I used to be? Of course I will, Alucard said to my relief. I promise. Thank you. I let go of his hand, feeling oddly warm from his touch. I was thinking, maybe instead of trying to find answers to my past, I can use this library to learn about the world around me. There's so much in here. Even if I never regain my memory, I could still learn a lot about the different places and people. I could even learn about stories. Who knows, maybe something will trigger a memory. I think that's a great idea, Alucard agreed. You are very smart. Thank you. I smiled with a blush. I think I'll ask the bookkeepers about the Mediterranean Sea. That seems like a beautiful place to visit one day. Would you like to stay with me? Alucard gave a genuine smile. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. Time passed, and I began to feel at home in this vast, empty castle. At first, I didn't stray far from my bedroom or the close corridors leading to the kitchen and library, fearful of getting lost or straying into a place I wasn't supposed to be in. Once I felt comfortable of my surroundings, I started to venture further, making a mental map in my head of the castle. I was always cautious. I didn't want to offend or anger my host, who usually kept to himself. Turns out, Alucard wasn't the kind of host who was easily offended. He seemed to enjoy my company in a weirdly distant way, often watching me from afar and periodically checking up on me just to see if I was faring well. It's strange, he was the fearsome vampire lord, but I felt he was nervous around me instead of the other way around. Like, he was afraid of getting close to me. Off to the library again? Alucard asked in his low, smooth voice when we sat at the breakfast table one day. Yes, how did you figure that? You are there every day, Alucard observed. Tell me, you have a grand castle to explore at your footsteps, yet you resign yourself only to the library and a few close hallways. Why? This castle is huge. I explained. I'll get lost if I set off without knowing where I am, and... I paused, unsure if I should say this. I don't want to end up stumbling into a place I'm not allowed in. You are the most considerate guest I've had, Alucard remarked. I assure you there is no place forbidden. I have no hidden secrets or dark torture chambers, no enchanted roses even. The castle is yours to explore. The only place I advise you against again is my childhood bedroom, but only because I do not wish for you to be scarred. Okay, sounds like you do have secrets, or a kinky torture chamber. I joked. I assure you I do not. Alucard laughed before his face became melancholy. My bedroom is where I killed my father.
No!
I immediately reached for his hand. That is also where I was betrayed, and there is... evidence of that. Rage bubbled in my gut. Where are these traitors? I've been reading on how to use a knife. Oh, don't worry, Alucard chuckled. No need to avenge me. Those traitors were taken care of. He turned to me. There's a garden inside the castle courtyard. I think you will like it. Would you like me to show you? Sure, I answered happily. In all honesty, I was getting tired of seeing the same hallways and rooms again every day. With my staff in hand, I happily followed Alucard into one of the many large courtyards within the castle. I smell lavender. I wriggled my nose. And other herbs. You'd be correct. Alucard nodded, gesturing to the clusters of various plants and flowers. This is where my mother grew her medicinal plants. She would use them to make treatments to heal the surrounding villages. People used to come here? I gasped, amazed. No, they would come to her. She actually lived in a cottage in a town not overly far from here called Lupu and helped the people there. My father gave her a mirror she would use to come here and pick the plants she needed. She healed a lot of people and saved many lives. Does the mirror still work? An idea flashed in my eyes. No. Alucard responded to my disappointment. It was destroyed when they came and executed her. You're not missing out. You wouldn't want to go on a day trip there, there's nothing to see. The village is in ruins and its people slaughtered. It was one of the first places to fall under my father's rage. Why? I asked, pained. There must have been innocent women and children living there. They didn't kill Lisa. In a way, they did. Alucard responded dourly. They stood back and watched while the priests arrested her for execution. One of them could have taken a stand and said, enough, but none did. Not in her home village where she was arrested. Not in Tago Viste when she was about to be burned at the stake for crimes she didn't commit. My father lost any shred of hope for humanity when she was murdered. Anger flared in my heart. They were idiots for doing that. I clenched my knuckles. The big boss gave her a gift of knowledge and the willpower to use it to help people. He sent her to help them, and they destroyed her. He was furious about what happened there and told us not to intervene when Dracula's hordes laid waste to the village. Just like that, the memory vanished with my words. Oh shit, I wrung my hair. I did it again. Why is it when I remember something it goes away? There she is. Alucard touched my arm in a calm voice. At least your memory is trying to resurface. Perhaps there is hope you may regain it. He gave me an odd smile. Seems you were once a very important person, and you still are now. It just sucks. I groaned, sitting on the bench. Bits of it come back to me and fade away just when I'm trying to understand them. I understand, Alucard said in sympathy, taking a seat next to me. Do not let it frustrate you too much. A little is better than nothing. Oh no, I shrugged. Thanks for being patient with me. I leaned my head on his shoulder. It's nice not being alone anymore. Alucard flinched and his skin went warm, causing me to flinch away. My cheeks flushed. I should know better than to do that. The speakers are very touchy-feely. I shouldn't expect anyone else. It's all right. Alucard smiled warmly. You never have to apologize for wanting to be close to someone, especially after being alone. He gestured me to come closer, and I happily did, once again leaning against his shoulder. Tell me, what have you been reading in the library? Lots of things, I answered with a strange bliss. Mostly geography, the history of other countries. There's a specific place I've been reading much about that I would really love to see. Ah, and where is that? The city of Florence, I said wistfully, on the Italian peninsula. It's so beautiful there, and the city is full of scientists and sculptures and many brilliant minds. The people are learning to live in the future without the medieval misery plaguing the rest of the continent. Florence is a marvelous city, Alucard agreed. My father once visited the rulers of the city one. Florence is a republic. It's not ruled by a king. rather a wealthy family. Oh, I know, I piped eagerly. Yeah, the Medici. They sound like very interesting people. They're using their wealth and power to help their people. As any good rulers should, Alucard remarked. He made a pretty good impression on them. In fact, many of my mother's instruments were gifts from the Medici. I gazed at him astonished. I would love to visit Florence one day. Perhaps we shall, Alucard responded in optimism. You would come with me? I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I don't know why, but that made my face flush heated red. I immediately stood up and backed away, strangely embarrassed. Can you show me what each of these plants are for? I think it'd good to learn how to make medicine. Of course. Alucard stood up and walked with me through the well-kept garden, pointing out the different plants and their medical uses. I was paying attention to him, but I was also trying to figure out the strange fluttering sensation in my gut. I hope it's something one of these herbs treat. Come. There is something else I want to show you. I followed Alucard into a gilded room full of scientific tools, books, a great telescope rising like a small tower, and a massive astrolabe floating above showing the accurate representation of the solar system humans have yet to learn. Whoa, I gawked, amazed. I've never seen anything like this. What is this place? This is a laboratory for science and research, Alucard presented. It once belonged to my father, who bequeathed it to my mother. He stepped in front of me and bowed, stretching out his arm to the laboratory. And now it's yours. No way. I gasped. Alucard? I can't. I wouldn't know a thing to do here. You will in time. Alucard smiled with a glimmer in his gilded eyes. There are many books, and I trust you will not blow up the castle in curious experimentation. I see it in your eyes. These tools are not unfamiliar to you. You look upon them in disbelief that they are here, not of fearful unknown. I believe you are capable of preserving what I feared was lost. You think so much of me. I clutched my fist to my heart. I'll learn the ways of science and use its knowledge responsibly in time. I turned to him at loss for words, except for, thank you. It is my pleasure. Alucard lowered his head and nodded. His eyes caught something behind me as they glimmered with tears. She would have liked you. I turned around and noticed a portrait hanging on the opposite wall of the laboratory's former owner. I saw her in her son, but a strange part of my brain stirred in eerie recognition. I think she already does. After the introduction of the laboratory, things began to change. Alucard had grown closer to me. No longer was he the aloof and distant stranger watching from afar, but now truly part of my life. He now accompanied me on my exploits throughout the castle, taking part on my explorations through the castle halls and adventures within the pages of the library books. In the laboratory his mother once worked in, he demonstrated how to use the instruments and how to use the great telescope. It turns out Alucard was a very intelligent man. I'd even say the most intelligent in the world. He'd tell me all the different things about the world, history, astronomy, nature, cultures, and medicine, as he showed me through the library books. From him, I learned of the many countries, how to navigate using the stars, how to hunt and cook game meat, and much more. It wasn't just learning from books either. Most, if not all, of this new knowledge came from going out into the world. Well, relatively speaking. Alucard took me on the well-worn trails in the forests surrounding the castle. He showed me the various game trails and taught me how to follow them. He identified the various plants and mushrooms, teaching me which ones I could use to help me and which ones to avoid. Although we never went far from the castle, the forests outside felt like another world. Some days there was nothing to teach, and we pleasantly walked the forest paths, enjoying the serene beauty of nature and each other's company. I really enjoyed Alucard's company. Perhaps it was the fact he was the only other presence around, or perhaps I was just a social butterfly by nature. I loved being in Alucard's presence and enjoyed every moment with him. Even if we were only reading books or learning how to categorize herbs, I was happy just to be near him. Alucard opened up as well. He smiled more. His soft tone lost the dreary weight. I could see it as time passed, the melancholy lift from his shoulders, and he bloomed like a flower in the spring after a long, hard winter. I knew I was seeing the true Alucard, one the legends and terrifying stories would never tell of. One who was kind, soft-spoken, understanding, and patient. Thank goodness he was patient. I have a question, I asked, skipping on top of the rocks and downed logs along the riverbank. How are you not burning alive right now? It's the middle of the day. I am half vampire, Alucard answered, walking alongside me. The human part of me is capable of surviving the sunlight. That's good. I nodded, balancing across a log holding my staff horizontally. Because my adventures in the woods would be quite lonely. I wasn't focusing and slipped. Alucard caught me, and for a moment I felt a blazing heat in my chest and the warm flush of my cheeks. We glanced at each other and quickly flinched away. I stammered. Thanks for catching me. You're welcome. Try to be more cautious. I will. I hopped onto another rock, following the stream. I stuck my staff into the water, stirring it up to attract the fish. There's so much to see, even in this forest close to home. Lungo. Alucard wondered, surprised. Gano. Hino. Fracasso. I cocked my head at him. Isn't that home? It is. Alucard sighed. I hadn't realized it has become home to you. I nodded. It's the first place I felt like I belonged. It was great being with the speakers, and I will never forget their kindness when they took me in, but I always felt like a guest. Here, it's different. Alucard didn't respond, but I saw the light in his eyes when we approached a grand field of wildflowers. So pretty. I jogged into the field, taking everything in. Yes, it is, Alucard murmured wistfully. My staff began to glow. What the? I raised the staff to my head. Alucard called a warning, but it was too late. I heard the growling behind the trees. A hell beast pounced from the cover and charged toward me, jaws bared and gullet raw. I barely had time to react and hold up my staff when Alucard swooped forward in a blinding blur, slicing the creature clean in half. The beast's body writhed, spurting blood with its organs crumpled in the dirt. Alucard stood fiercely over the creature's corpse, his eyes sharp with a vampire's rage and sword dripping with blood. I suddenly remembered what my host was, and my instincts clamored me to run. Yet I didn't. I stood frozen, legs shaking, stricken by fear and a wave of guilt. The glow of my staff dissipated, leaving it no more than a nice walking stick. Alucard wheeled around to me, the ferocity in his eyes replaced by pallid fear. Are you okay? I nodded, clutching my staff with trembling hands. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have walked out in the open alone. It's not your fault. Alucard calmed me. I should have known better than to wander this far from the castle. Come, let's hurry back. Where there's one night creature, there's more lurking unseen. Thankfully enough, we encountered no night creatures on our way back to the castle. That is a peculiar weapon, Alucard noted, senses alert to his surroundings. I've never seen anything like it before. Neither have I. I clutched my staff close, as if it were my own heart. It had warned me of the night creature's presence, and I knew it would keep me safe. Then again, there's a lot I haven't seen. Who's to say magic staves that shoot beams and glow in the presence of hell beasts aren't as common as swords somewhere else in the world? I can assure you they are not. Alucard touched the hilt of his own weapon. I have read. They are a weapon used among mages of different sects. Ugh. Interesting, I remarked. Well, there's something else I'm going to search for in the library. How did you acquire that staff? He asked. I found it, I answered. You're in the very spot where I woke up. Alucard furrowed his brows. That is strange. That is strange. Not as strange as the fact the thing literally popped up in the field the day after the old farming couple found me. It wasn't with you when you awakened. Nope, I shook my head. Yeah, Just popped up right there in the exact same spot I was sitting, in the exact place I was heading. Nobody put it there. I didn't see footprints or evidence of a cart. It was just there. Alucard nodded in thought. Whatever the situation that brought it there, it was meant for your hands. I'm just curious of who put it there in the first place. Well, I wondered. My eyes suddenly widened and the scars on my back prickled. You don't think I could have been them? I darted my eyes to the skies, grey clouds rolling in. If you were what I think you were, it is not out of possibility. Alucard responded quietly. But why would heaven give a fallen angel a weapon to protect herself? I questioned, getting frustrated. My scars started to ache. I'd have to reapply the ointment to soothe them again. Later on at the castle, Alucard changed my bandage and reapplied the ointment onto my scars. They're looking much better, the kindly vampire noted. Noted! The inflammation is going down, and the marks are less red. We should keep up with this ointment until I see they are fully healed. What if they don't heal? I asked. Alucard chuckled and patted my shoulder. Then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have this soothing cream applied every couple of days. I won't run out of material, and it is easy to make. My skin prickled, not from the ointment, but because his lips were very close to my back. It wouldn't be so bad if they touched. Alucard shifted back abruptly. There's something we need to discuss. What? I asked nervously, throwing my gown over my head. You've been in my company for a while now, Alucard spoke in his quiet tone. And I believe it is time that you have a name. A name, I repeated, scratching the back of my head. I haven't thought of giving myself a name. I always hoped the memory of my old one would pop up. Some luck. That's a good thing, my friend. Alucard reassured. Alucard! A new name signalizes a new beginning. True, I remarked. What would be a good name for me? I've gone over a few, and I think this one suits you the best. Alucard's eyes brightened like the sun, and he spoke a name. I gasped, heart fluttering in joy. I love it. It's a beautiful name. A beautiful name for a beautiful woman. He flushed, regretting those words escaped his mouth. Thank you, I murmured. I'm honored to have it. For the first time since awakening in the burning field, I truly felt I began a new path. A new name. A new beginning. I woke up from a sharp pain tearing through my pelvis and stomach like a searing knife wound. For God's sake, that hurts, I grumbled, cringing beneath my blanket as the pain ripped through my stomach. I knew I should have cooked the venison more. I sat up, gritting my teeth from the cramps seizing my gut. Oh, shit. I gripped the blanket with veined knuckles, eyes locked in horror on the blood-stained bedsheets. I might have been amnesiac, but I knew exactly what happened. Even if I didn't, the medical books gave me information enough. Getting my moonbleed wasn't what instilled a deep-rooted terror for my life. I knew I'd be fine. Getting my moonbleed in the castle of a vampire. I gotta get out of here. I frantically wiped the blood from between my legs and pushed the sheets out the window, wrapping a tight cloth within my gown. Stay somewhere else for a week while this runs its course. I won't be gone for long. I scribbled a quick note for Alucard. The blood seeped out, and I felt like a wounded seal in shark-infested waters. Alucard wouldn't hurt me on purpose, but the presence of blood would have easily triggered his vampiric instincts. Why didn't I think of this before? This was bound to happen eventually, and didn't come up with a freaking game plan. The knock on the door nearly gave me a heart attack. Are you all right in there? You haven't come down for breakfast. Actually, no. I'm feeling unwell and I need to rest, so I won't be out. Just stay away and let me rest. Give me a week. I don't want you catching this. It's very contagious. You sound fearful. Alucard responded, concerned. There's a strong smell coming from this room. Oh, fuck, I whispered. Yeah, that's the smell of the sickness. Very bad. I moved the furniture to reach the window. Best stay away. He must have heard me clambering up the furniture. What is going on in there? Nothing. I pried the window open, trying to fit through. Oh. These cramps. It's bad. I lost my footing and fell. Alucard quickly unlocked the door and found me lying on my back with blood seeping from my pants. What the bloody hell are you doing? Stay away from me. I scrambled away, panicked. I know we're close friends, but the smell is too strong. It's all right. Mates, it's all right. Alucard kneeled before me, his velvet voice soft and soothing. I will never hurt you, not even with this. My human blood quells my vampiric instincts. His voice and the kindness in his gilded eyes lowered my hackles. Alucard walked me to the bath, filling the tub with warm water and adding a scented lilac vial. With his permission, I allowed him to scrub the inside of my thighs down my legs. The clear bath became crimson. Don't be afraid, you are not ill, Alucard reassured in his dulcet tone. It's just your moon bleed, nothing more. All human women go through it. Honestly, I was little concerned it didn't occur sooner. You knew this would happen to me? I raised my head. I hoped it would, Alucard replied. Oh, this means your body understands it is human and... He sighed with an amused look. You are capable of bearing a child. I honestly didn't know what to think of that. I swished my foot awkwardly. Don't expect me to act on that. Alucard chuckled. Of course not. I'm only saying that because it means you are in good health. I leaned against the bathtub, resting my head on the rim. Wish you would have told me earlier. You're right, I apologize. Alucard nodded sincerely. I honestly didn't know how to tell you this. I'm not familiar with these matters. I knew about the visit from that bitch Flo. What I meant was, I wish I would have known you wouldn't have gone rage-hungry over my human blood. Oh, Alucard remarked, surprised. Is that why you were trying to escape out the window? Sleepless, I blushed. Alucard laughed. You wouldn't have gotten very far. There's a 200-foot drop directly outside the window. If you had managed yourself out, you'd have to skirt the wall like a skilled thief, and it's a long way down. His fangs gleamed in humorous mirth. Where would you go if you miraculously reached the ground? The nearest village is over 20 miles away, and I would find you. I may lack the prey drive of a vampire, but not the senses of one, even if you do smell delightful. I splashed him in the face. Well, I think I deserved that. I'll leave out cloth you can put in your undergarments. Do not worry if your clothes are stained. The fabric can easily be washed. Once I was dried and dressed, I walked among the library. Can you find more scrolls with this language? I asked the bookkeeper. The ethereal creature vanished and returned with a handful of delicate old scrolls with archaic lettering. Thank you. Thank you. Finding a comfy place to sit, I curled up on a warm couch and placed the scrolls on the table beside me, gently unrolling one. My muscles tightened, but the pain greatly subdued thanks to Alucard's tonic to ease the cramps. The same tonic his mother took when she was plagued by the monthly visitor. Wonder how Dracula dealt with that. My ears twitched hearing soft footsteps draw near. I wasn't afraid. Only one other person walked these ancient castle halls. You look comfortable. Wow! The vampire lord stood quietly. How are you feeling? Like shit, I answered honestly. I answered honestly, but less shitty since I drank that soothing tonic. It's really helping me out. You're welcome. I don't want to see you in pain. So, I offered him a spot next to me. He shouldn't have to stand. Alucard sat on the far end of the couch. You can come closer, I remarked. I have my moon bleed, not the plague. Unless your vampire side is... No, not that at all. I wanted to give you space. I scooshed myself next to him. I've got enough space. Alucard gave one of those warm smiles that blazed heat inside my chest. My cheeks flushed and I backed up. Sorry. Maybe you like more. It's all right, little one, Alucard reassured. You should. I do not mind at all. He glanced at the scrolls. What are you reading? Some ancient language everybody's probably forgotten about. I unraveled the scroll and pointed. I saw these letters in a book about speaker magic, and it just clicked to me. I recognized them and understood them. I read a passage describing the best spells to utilize by the phases of the moon. You can read Enochian, Alucard murmured, surprised. Sleepless, I smiled proudly. Can't you? Not fully, Alucard replied. Or only one other person could, and she was a speaker magician. Enochian is an occult language believed to be passed down to practices of magic from a celestial being. The language is virtually lost to time. It's been found again. Oh, I tapped the edge of the scroll. I pressed my fingers to my mouth. I finally remembered something from my old life, whatever that may have been. This ancient language is a clue. If it was used by magic wielders, I must have been one too, and if a speaker knew the language. I curled my fingers. Perhaps there was a reason I felt close to them. Perhaps there was, Alucard mused. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Thanks. I giggled, overjoyed. This, a great step forward. Not just for memories. Knowing something like this, I can finally be useful. Alucard gave me a curious eye. Useful. I lowered my shoulders. See, if I can learn spells with this language, I could help you protect the castle. I could help you hunt and locate herbs, even set up the garden better. All this time you've been feeding me, clothing me, given me a roof under my head, and I haven't done anything good in return. I just gave you an extra mouth to feed, and now you have to wash those bed sheets I threw out on the spire. With this knowledge, I wouldn't be such a burden to you anymore. Alucard took my hands. You were never a burden to me. I lowered my gaze. You're just saying that not to hurt me. No, I'm speaking the truth. Alucard held my hands in his own. Listen to me. Having you here has been the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. You've given me hope. You've given me a new purpose and helped me move on when I believed I couldn't. I was lost before you barged yourself boldly into the castle. I thought I could never trust anyone again. You changed all that. If anything, you're the one who healed me. I couldn't help the water in my eyes. You really mean that? Alucard held my gaze in his gilded eyes. From the bottom of my heart, my angel. I can't believe I'm hearing this. I sniffled, feeling the lump in my throat. Maybe it was the hormones. Maybe it was the fact his truthful words struck such a deep core in my heart. Maybe it was both. Either way, I ended up a sniffly mess and hugged him, my face buried into his warm chest. Alucard sighed, but I soon felt his arms wrap around me, pulling me deep into his embrace. In that moment, I truly knew I wasn't alone anymore. Neither of us were. Alucard had found a way to heal and a reason to move on, and me? I had found where I belonged. I stood among an assembly of light, rather celestial beings made of light. Their forms ranged from humanoid silhouettes to monstrous shapes barely comprehensible by human minds, and they were all focused on me. They were furious at me. They shouldn't be. I helped those people. I saved their lives. They want to cast me out just because I betrayed them? I scream and defend my case, but they don't listen to me. They could have ended it, but I destroyed their chance by going behind their backs. An enormous winged figure shrouded in armored light touched his sword to my back. I screamed when the flames engulfed my shoulders. I jolted from the bed screaming, heart hammering against and gasping in cold sweat. It took me a moment to realize where I was. Alucard came rushing in, slamming the door wide open. "Are you okay?" His eyes alight like melted gold, and he clutched the hilt of his sword. His gaze darted around the room before his hackles lowered. "I am. I'm sorry." I sighed. "I had a nightmare. I didn't mean to scare you." "It's all right." He sat on the bed, hugging me when I wrapped my arms tightly around him. The nightmare scared me more than others because it felt like a living memory. "I'm here. You're safe." I wasn't embarrassed, crying into his shoulder, feeling him stroke the back of my head. I could always count on him to be there. "Alucard, why are you armored up like a knight going into battle?" I noticed after I recollected myself. Alucard responded with a concerned look on his face. "Follow me." He led me onto the balcony. "Well, tell me, what do you see?" The answer was easy to spot. "I see a bad moon rising." I watched the moon turn dusky red, like the color of dried blood. "Trouble's on the way." I scratched my head. "It's a lunar eclipse, but I don't get why I have this ominous feeling tingling through my veins." "You are correct." Alucard nodded. "It's a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon. Night creatures draw their strength from the blood moon and are at their most powerful when it's at its fullest." Gulped. "Well, that's not good." "No, it isn't," Alucard mused. "And the fact you can sense the malice in the air further supports my theory of your celestial past." I shivered from the memory of the nightmare. "Easy." "Come." Alucard turned with a swish of his cape. "I need your help fortifying the castle. Remember that ward you showed me from the Speaker's Scrolls? I want you to cast it. I have faith you can do it." I blushed. "Thanks. I'll give it my best shot, Alucard. I've been practicing casting spells in the arena hold." I blinked, turning around and gazing southward. "What about Dynasty?" "Come again?" Alucard turned his head. "There's a village down south called Dynasty," I explained, watching the distant horizon. "There'll be an open target for the night creatures, and easy pickings. We're the closest place to it. We could help them." Alucard narrowed his brows. "Why not? Dynasty is 20 miles away. By the time we reach them, it will be sunrise, and the night creatures would have had their fill. Not to mention, we'd be an open target as well." Alucard explained. "I understand." I nodded. "But we can still help them. There's a spell that can be used remotely to ward off night creatures I can try with." "Joe," Alucard cut in sternly. "Distance spells take more energy. I won't have you siphoning your life force trying to attempt it. They'll have to fend for themselves." He saw the tension in my body and spoke in a softer tone. "I'm sorry, my dear. It's hard to accept, but we can't save everyone." I struggled with the notion, but nodded in reluctance, following him before taking a regretful look behind me at the dark horizon. "One day, I'll be strong enough to help you." Boy. The midnight sky bathed in eerie red as the blood moon rose to its zenith. Like a molten rock against the black, it was easy to see why many cultures took it as an ill omen. An evil aura crept throughout the air, not from the moon itself, but from the swarm of night creatures terrorizing the skies in great swarms, blocking the stars wherever they flew. "I hope this works," I murmured, clutching my glowing staff wearing an armored dress. At Alucard's direction, I set up wards across key points of the castle, placing an enchanted marks on the locations he indicated, murmuring the spell in the Enochian language. I felt the ancient magic course through my veins like rivers, pouring from my mouth and fingertips. The symbols glowed, setting up invisible shields covering large portions throughout the castle. "Well done." Alucard smiled proudly. "Thanks." I blushed. "That wasn't so hard. I like the sense of magic flowing through my body. Feels as natural as the blood running through my veins." "Interesting," Alucard remarked before glaring at the skies. "Go!" "Get inside the castle," he commanded, drawing his sword. "Some of the night creatures are slipping through the cracks." Indeed, the ward deterred the vast majority of the night swarm from approaching the castle. It hovered around the towers like a vast starling swarm, but some noticed the openings the wards couldn't reach. I took cover, watching Alucard wield his sword and confront the creatures. I often forgot the nature of my host, but in moments like this, I well remembered who and what he was. Alucard was fast on his sword as he was on his feet. There were moments he disappeared in a blur, a serrated gust whipping through the air as hell-beasts fell spouting blood from mortal wounds. Sometimes it was him, sometimes it was his sword zipping through the air, same result either way. He never sunk his teeth in anything either. Maybe that's just a myth, but he didn't have to. He decimated the monsters as quickly as they came. Of course, things started to change when those hell spawns noticed me. "Gun!" Alucard commanded. "Hey!" The beasts came onto me in a flurry of fangs and feathers. I screamed, smacking them down with my staff, cracking necks and shattering bones. Smell like. Smell like. Come on, you stupid thing. Work your damn magic. I curb-stomped a goat demon, caving its skull in with the butt end of my staff. Alucard rushed to my aid, floating above the ground like a poltergeist. A large, panther-like demon pounced and crashed onto him, pinning him down with great claws. Alucard twisted around, clawing and snapping at the creature like a feral beast. Let him go. Magic surged from the core of my heart up my arm, channeling through the staff in a blinding white beam. It vaporized the demon on impact. No evidence left but a cloud of white ash. I ran to Alucard and helped him up. Together, we fought the night creatures side by side. By magic sword and mystic staff, the lunar eclipse waned, and with it, the night creatures' power. Yet that made them more desperate. Alucard was tiring out, and the monsters took notice. They came at him faster, seizing the opportunity. Alucard, "Younger, get in now." So, the vampire lord snarled with bared fangs. He slashed and clawed the demons with ebbing strength. My staff pulsed